Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss on Vagrant. We are going to cover what is Vagrant, why do we need Vagrant, installation of Vagrant, and some important commands of Vagrant. And we are going to see how to create a Vagrant network and share folders. So Vagrant is a tool which helps us to build a complete environment. So for example, if you need 4 virtual machines and in the automated way, Vagrant is a good option. But Vagrant is used mostly in the development environment, not in the production. Because production environment, we have enterprise tools which help us to do the same. But Vagrant is very handy if you want to develop a 4 virtual machine and inside that 4 different application, Vagrant can do that. So what basically Vagrant is? Vagrant help us to define the infrastructure as a code. Let's say example, I need a 2 virtual machine with 5 GB of RAM and 2 core CPUs. It's possible, yes. We can write this code in the Vagrant file, and after that, Vagrant can do the job creating a machine without any human intervention. And the interesting thing about the Vagrant is Vagrant have its own cloud, and from where we can get the ready-made images. So we do not need a time to install the operating system. We do not need it because the operating system pre-installed images are available on the Vagrant cloud. So let's say example, we need CentOS 7, Ubuntu, or any image with installed software like Apache. This kind of all images are available on the Vagrant cloud. We can download and start using it. So Vagrant allow us to do the multiple things like installing the operating system of our choice, modifying the RAM, CPU. We can work on the network interface by using the Vagrant. We need a IP, we can define it. We need the NATing, we can define it. Everything we can do in the Vagrant. Vagrant allow us to set up a share folder. What it means? For example, I am running Windows, and top of that I have the VirtualBox. In VirtualBox, I need 2 virtual machines. So between 2 virtual machines and my Windows machine, we can share a folder between them. So that will be help to take the data from Windows to Linux or Linux to Windows. So that is all possible using the Vagrant. Now, one thing is very important to understand. Vagrant is not virtualization software like VirtualBox. It allows us to automate the virtualization. It is not an virtual software like VirtualBox. What it means? It means we need some virtualization software. Vagrant not have that capability to provide the virtualization. Either we need KVM, or we need VirtualBox, or we need Hyper-V. Any kind of virtualization we need. Vagrant will allow us to automate the process. All right. So we'll see that how basically it works. We can set up the host key. That means their public key. We can copy it so they can log in without any passwords. So this all we can do with the Vagrant. Another important thing is that we can run the number of command in the Vagrant. What it means? It means, for example, my OS boot, I need 10 packages need to be installed at the time of first installation. So it will do that. Let's say example, I have installed CentOS and I need Apache need to be installed in that. So I will write in the same file. It will create a CentOS, and after that it will install the number of packages we had defined in the Vagrant file. That is all possible with the help of Vagrant. Now, Vagrant need virtualization software, so we can download the virtualization software from www.virtualbox.org/wiki/downloads. From here we can download. And to download the Vagrant software, we can download from the link www.vagrantup.com/downloads.html. And we need a git bash. Git bash, why? Because its GUI is good to work as compared to the CMD. So it's optional. If you do not need, you can work from the CMD, that is command prompt of the Windows, or putty session or terminal from the Linux. Another important thing is Vagrant is multi-platform. So if you want to download on the Linux box, possible, there is a downloads available on the same page. If you want to download on the Windows box, no problem, we can do that. So it's a multi-platform, so all the different softwares are available for the respective platforms on the same page. And VirtualBox is also multi-platform, so you can download on the Linux also, you can get the download for the Windows also. So this is how looks like the installation part. So we have to click on the exe. If we are working on the Windows machine, we have to click on next, and after that finish, and here it get installed. To install the Vagrant is also very simple. We have to follow the wizard. We have to say next, finish. So it get installed, and same way we can install the git bash. So the all three, when we install, we can open the git bash and we can run the command vagrant.exe hyphen version. So we'll get the version. All right, and after that we can start working on the Vagrant. So once the Vagrant is installed, we can start working on it. And here is a few terminology like Vagrant base box. So base box is a virtual machine packed into the single file, so that we called as a base box. All right, so basically it's called as a template. So when we do the lab, we'll see the how the template is look like. Vagrant box is an instance of virtual box VM. So any virtual machine is running, we called as a Vagrant box. So either it can be running on the virtual Oracle virtual box, or it can be running on the KVM or Hyper-V. We called as a Vagrant box. Provision means configuration steps, so that we called as a provisioning. Vagrant file is very important. This file having all the code. So we talk about infrastructure as a code. So where we write that infrastructure as a code. So the Vagrant file is a file where we write the infrastructure as a code. So all the code, like what operating system we want, how much RAM we want, how much CPU we want, what number of packages we have to install in that operating system, everything we can define in the Vagrant file. So our next goal will be, in the next video we'll see how to write the Vagrant file and how to use it. So this is a common example. For example, if you want to install the Ubuntu, so what code we have to write in the Vagrant file. So here, if you look at, we have written the 3 line of code to deploy the Vagrant, to deploy the Ubuntu machine. So vagrant.config, we can write configure or we can write config, that will work. 2 is a version. So on which version we are working. So 2, after that do variable, any variable you can take. So this is a variable name. It's not mandatory we have to take config. You can define your own variable. So variable definition is done. Then after that you are saying variable name dot vm dot box equals to ubuntu / trusty64. So it will go on the Vagrant cloud. It will download this image for you and install that image for you. So very interesting. 3 line code, you will get the Ubuntu machine. Next, let's say example, I have to forward the port of this virtual machine on my 8080. It's possible, yes. So my guest port is 80, forward to 8080. So whatever the services is running on the port 80 in your guest operating system, that is in Ubuntu, you will get on the Windows machine on the port 8080, if in case if you are running your virtual machine on the Windows operating system. So that means on host machine, you will get all 80 service access on 8080 of the base machine. So it's a port forwarding, not much. For example, I have to define the IP address in the Ubuntu machine. How I can do that? I can do that with the private underscore network. So config-vm-network, private underscore network, and after that IP address. So here I am writing 192.168.300. So this is the IP address of this guest machine, that is Ubuntu Trusty64. How I will share the data between the Windows and the guest machine? Is possible, yes. VM dot synced folder, synced underscore folder. This is my the current folder, that is the host machine folder, and this is my the Linux machine, that is Windows Ubuntu machine. So this folder gonna share with there. So whatever the data will keep in the data folder, it's accessible in the /vagrant_data on the Ubuntu machine. All right. So source destination easily synced with the command vm.synced_folder. How I can write number of command inside that virtual machine which get created. So my virtual machine get created with a Ubuntu machine, right? After that I have to install 2-3 things, like first I have to update it, second I have to install Apache. So the syntax is config.vm.provision. So this is very important. .provision. What we have to provision? We have to write the shell command. So shell, comma, inline, after that syntax, capital shell, and here we have to write number of commands. So keep writing your command here, but make sure here you have given the tab, because this function is inside under provision. So tab, and after that all the command. Let's say example, you have to run 10 commands. Write down the one by one 10 command, and after that complete it with capital shell, because here we have started with a shell and we have to complete it with a shell. And end. Why we have to write end? Because this we have started here do, and after that here end. So if you have number of do, it will come number of end. So this all we have written in the one do function. So one end is here. So once we run this Vagrant file, we'll go through that how to run the. As of now, we have created a code that will download the Ubuntu machine, that will do the port forwarding of 80 on 8080 of base machine, that will assign the IP to the Ubuntu machine, that will share the folder between the Windows and Linux machine, and that will also run the set of 2 commands on the Ubuntu machine after VM creation. So let's say example, someone want to run this file, but they want 2 machines, maybe server 1 and server 2. Is possible? Yes. We have to write vagrant.config here version do config. This do config will define one variable, and here you are defining one virtual machine. Config.vm.define server 1. All right, do server 1. So you are taking another variable server 1.ubuntu. Another variable you are defining here, end is here. So do end, and now you are deploying the another machine. Config.vm.define server 2, do server 2, server 2.vm box ubuntu trust 364. So what is the difference? So here we have taken the 2 variable. Config is a common variable, both machines are using the same variable config. You can see here config, but this config defining another variable called as server 1, and next in set we are using the same config to define another variable server 2. So from config we have defined the 2 variables server 1 and server 2, and with the help of server 1 we have deployed the Ubuntu Trust 364 for the server 1, and with server 2 we have defined the same operating system Ubuntu 64 Trust 364 for the server 2. When we run this machine, it will create 2 virtual machines. Operating system remains same, but one is server 1, another is server 2. So if we have requirement of having multiple virtual machines, we can define with the number of variables. So if you need 3, so you can write another set here, config.vm.define server 3 do server 3, and after that server 3.vm box equals to operating system name. So it can be any name, CentOS/7. It will install the CentOS 7. All right. So these all commands we can run on the Vagrant. So Vagrant version to check the version, Vagrant box add to add the new base box, Vagrant box list to list up all the boxes. To remove the box, we have to run the Vagrant box remove. To initialize it, we have to run the Vagrant init. So this is very, very important command, because this command we're gonna run in the next lab. Vagrant up to make sure your machine start with the help of configuration you have kept in the Vagrant file. So this is another important command. To take the SSH of your Vagrant box, Vagrant SSH, Vagrant halt is to stop the running Vagrant box. These all are the important command. Vagrant reload to restart the virtual machine, suspend to suspend the virtual machine, resume to again resume back, Vagrant destroy to completely destroy, that means delete everything of the virtual machine, Vagrant global status to display all the configuration status of your Vagrant boxes, Vagrant box updated, check the updated for the Vagrant box. So it will check the updates whether any changes is there. Vagrant box update, check the updates for the Vagrant box. So this all command we're gonna use in our lab. So we have completed theoretical part. In next video we are going to see the practical. Thank you so much. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video we will see the lab of Vagrant. So we are going to perform a few Vagrant code on our terminal. So this is a GitHub terminal, and on this terminal we are going to perform the Vagrant. So first we'll check whether Vagrant is installed or not. So we'll run the command Vagrant -- version. So this will tell us the Vagrant is installed properly. It says 2.0.0. So it got installed. Now we have created a one directory called as project. So the first command we have to give in the fresh directory is Vagrant init. Before that, make sure there is no file and directory inside that. So it's already there something. So I will just delete it. Now we'll give the command Vagrant init. So this command going to initialize and create a Vagrant file for us in the directory called as project. So here we got Vagrant file. So it says Vagrant file is created. So we'll go in the project directory and we'll check the Vagrant file. So this file come up with default code. So a lot of codes are default, but we are going to use our code. All right. So very important thing is to understand what we are going to do today is we are going to install CentOS 7. We are going to set a host name for that operating system. We are going to set the IP address. We are going to set a EPL repository. We are going to update the operating system. We are going to install the Java inside that. We are going to set the path of Java. We are going to install the Jenkins. We are going to download the Git, wget command also, package, wget package, and we are going to download the Maven. So this all we are going to perform by using the Vagrant. All right. So the important thing is to understand the code. So I have placed this code on my GitHub account, DevOps-CS Vagrant. You will find out this code. And very important thing is to install this plugin, because some of the feature of this code going to work with the help of this plugin. So I will copy this plugin. This is not part of this code. So that's the reason we have comment out by doing the hash. So we'll copy this command and we'll come on our terminal and we'll just paste it. Now this command is going to install the plugin called as Vagrant-VB guest. So this plugin going to be installed. So it's take a few seconds to get installed. Let's discuss about the Vagrant file. So we are gonna copy this code, complete code, and the file which got created by default Vagrant file. We're gonna remove all the code and place our code. Now let's check that the file is what all the code is written in this file. Let's check one by one. Vagrant-config to do config, that means the version 2. Config-vm define master, do master. So this will give the variable name called as master, and we'll use the master for other purpose. So here, if you look at master.vm provider virtual box, that means you are saying which virtualization we are going to use. So provider we are going to use is virtual box, right? This one, virtual box. If we are performing this, then here we can type kvm -v based on our virtualization software. Master.vm box CentOS 7. This will install the operating system CentOS 7. It will gonna pull from the Vagrant cloud. So if we go in the Google and type Vagrant cloud, so this is Vagrant cloud, and from this link, it pulls the operating system. So here we can see that VirtualBox, Hyper-V. So all the images are present here, and it says on which platform these images will run. So CentOS 7, you can look at it's for the Hyper-V, Leeward, VirtualBox, and VMware. So and more 3. So for multiple platform, this image is available. So no problem for us because provider VirtualBox have this image CentOS 7. Next, we have given the shell, and on shell we are going to run all these commands. So first command, we are going to load the SSHD. So it's not required to load, so we'll comment it here. We are going to install the EPL repository. We are going to do the update of the operating system. We're going to install the Java 1.8. We're going to check the version of Java. We're going to set the Java home path with the help of below commands. We're going to load that path by using the source profile. We're going to cross check the path by doing echo. We're going to install the wget command because we'll use this wget command to download few packages later. So here we have used the wget command to download the Jenkins repo. And after that, we have installed the Jenkins by doing the yum install Jenkins. And this is a key we have imported. We're gonna start the service by using systemctl start Jenkins service. So this service will start the Jenkins, and after that, it's repetitive. So we'll remove once. All right. Now we're gonna open the port 80 and also do the firewall setting. So this will open the port 8080 and reload the firewall. So if firewall is on, then in that case, it should not block the port 8080 because Jenkins server by default use port 8080. We're gonna install the Git by simple command yum install Git. We're gonna download the Maven, and by default password authentication setting is no. That means you cannot take SSH from outside by using password. You can take SSH only using key. That's a setting by default SSH config have in this image, the image we have downloaded. So that's the reason we have deleting this line by saying, so it will remove all the password authentication line in the file called as ssd_config and insert one line at the end of the file called as password authentication s. So it will gonna allow us to do the SSH connection by using our password. And after that, we are reloading our SSHD by saying systemctl reload SSHD. All right. So we have done with code check. Now it's time to run this code. So we'll save this code, and after that, we'll come here and we'll type clear command. We are already in the directory called as D project. Here we'll say Vagrant up. That's it. So when we say the Vagrant up, it will going to read this file, Vagrant file, because we are already residing in the D drive project, and this Vagrant file is on the same location. So it's gonna read that file and start performing from the top. So first it will gonna check the virtual box, yes, and after that it start pulling the CentOS 7 image from the Vagrant cloud. So pulling the image, it's take time, but in case you have already pulled the image, maybe for previous Vagrant up command, then in that case it will take from the local. So what it means, if you are doing first time, it's gonna take a more time. But if you are doing the repetitively, it will take less time because already that image is presented at your local machine. So that is a difference. And when you're doing first time, definitely take more time. I think for me it's take short time because already I have pulled the CentOS 7 image quite, so it will take less time to download that image. And after that it will set the host name, and it will set the IP address. It will try to run all the shell command which we have given, and in this case if anything fails, it will skip and go on the next, so it will not going to halt. That means, for example, if something happened and Java is not installed, it will not come out, it will go on the next and perform others. If there is a vagrant error in the syntax, if there is a problem in the syntax, in that case it gonna halt and it will going to give the message that this error occur. So the progress is going on, so it will take some time to complete this. So as of now we will check here imported. So import is completed, natting is completed. Here if you can say that network part is completed. Here it's forwarded the port 22 on the port 2222, and after that it set the SSH address on this. It's created the username called as Vagrant, and also it's created a private key for that user, and now it's performing further actions. So we can see the progress here. A lot of packages got installed, and update is also performed. Now it's installing EPL repository, and now it's downloading other packages. So here we can see that around installation size is 1.1 GB. So it's in progress. So we can see that the progress here install wget package, and here Jenkins is installed. It's still stalling the Jenkins. Now here we can see the Java home path is set. So we can see that Jenkins is installed and it's completed here, and here it says Jenkins service native is not, so that's the reason it's executed in another way. Has been check config Jenkins on instead of systemctl enable Jenkins, and it started the Jenkins as well in the background. And here it says firewall is not running because we have set the some firewall rule. So on that command it says firewall is not running. That's fine. And now it's installing other packages. And here we can see that download of Maven is completed, and finally it came out. Now our machine is ready here, but we have done a lot of changes, so we'll take a one restart of this machine. So just quickly we'll do the reset, and after that we'll take console of it. Let's quickly power off and power on. This code we can write in the our file itself. At the last we can write the reboot, so it will reboot for us. Now we'll check one by one the OS is installed properly, and after that we'll check Jenkins, Git, Maven. This all got installed properly or not. Now it's booting. So we'll type username Vagrant, and by default the password is also same Vagrant. All right, we got login. We'll log in the root user sudo -i. Now first we'll check whether Jenkins service is running or not. So it's running. That means complete successfully. We'll check whether Git is installed or not. Where is Git? So it got installed. We'll check whether in OPT we have written. So this one. Let me go on the code. This part cd opt and extract the maven. So we'll do cd opt, and here we'll see. So it's extracted. So we'll see here in Apache we have all the extracted code. All right. Now we'll take the access of it. We have set the IP address 10.0.0.3. So here we can check 10.0.0.3, and the host name is master.mylab.local. So it says master.hostname.local 10.0.0.3 and Vagrant. We got login. So how it got login? Because we have changed the code, that is /et/sshd config, and the password line which we have inserted, this one. If it is not inserted, by default it is password authentication no. So we have removed that line and we have inserted this line. So at the last we can see that this two line. Otherwise we'll not get SSH from outside. So everything works fine. So from one command, that is Vagrant space up, that do our job, right? So in this way we can use the Vagrant to create a multiple virtual machine with customized configuration. Thank you so much.